Hi there. Yes, the controversial ordinance shielding convicted MLAs and MPs was withdrawn this evening by the Union Cabinet in a brief meeting. Has the government bowed to the wishes of one man who is not in the government, who's never been in the government, Rahul Gandhi? We're bringing you our special coverage of the rollback of that ordinance. Let's get you the top headlines. Prime Minister bows to Rahul. Both the ordinance and the bill protecting convicted politicians is withdrawn. A consensus decision taken at a brief cabinet meeting.
I'm just not happy.
Why?
That's all.
Why?
That's all. I don't want to say why.
We have communicated our views. I have taken oath of secrecy. Cannot disclose beyond this.
Allies blow hot and cold there. The National Conference's Farooq Abdullah says he's not happy. NCP falls in line on withdrawing the ordinance but says we cannot say anything more because we have taken the oath of secrecy. Rahul Gandhi meets the Prime Minister earlier this day. He expressed his regret for his outburst. He said he did not intend to embarrass the Prime Minister. Also in the other headlines, Pakistani special forces intrude into Indian territory and hold fort in an abandoned village in Kiran sector of Kupwara, learned CNN and IBN, but the army has categorically denied this report. A 10-year-old Delhi student is critically injured in a freak accident, hit by a javelin on his school grounds during recess.
With no partisan strings attached, enough vote from both parties would have kept the American people's government open and operating.
As the U.S. shutdown enters day 2, a blame game between Democrats and Republicans. President Barack Obama refuses to go back on his healthcare reforms. The top story, the Prime Minister bows to Rahul Gandhi's diktat. The Union Cabinet has decided to withdraw the controversial ordinance and the bill that help keep convicted politicians free of losing their parliamentary and legislative seats. None of the allies objected to the withdrawal of the ordinance and bill, although many of them had made their displeasure clear earlier. Earlier today, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi met the Prime Minister and expressed regret for his outburst, but he explained why he was opposing the ordinance.
My opinion on the ordinance is that it's complete nonsense.
The decision was reconsidered and it was decided that we would take both the bill and the ordinance back.
What our government has done as far as this ordinance is concerned is wrong. Thank you.
Rahul Gandhi's Friday fury has hit bullseye. Within 24 hours of the Prime Minister landing in Delhi, the government has withdrawn the ordinance and the bill to protect convicted MPs. The day started early for the Prime Minister. First up was Rahul Gandhi. He told the Prime Minister that he regrets the manner in which he expressed his anger, but insisted that the ordinance be withdrawn. Sonia Gandhi came calling. The Congress core group meeting took no time to please Rahul, but the allies are angry at being forced.
I think we should have waited till he came back to the country and then put this before him. I think in future there will be more consultation than what has been done up to this time.
In all this, Prime Minister's position has once again been compromised.
It would have been a great day for Indian democracy if this had been withdrawn on grounds of morality or constitutionality.
While Dr. Singh has been repeatedly attacked by opposition, this time the blow is harsh as it has come from within. It's clear that Congress has planned for a generation shift, and it's Rahul, not Dr. Singh, who will be their mascot. And his dramatic push for clean politics is seen as his launching pad.
जो उनकी सोच विचारधारा है वो बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है. इस देश में राजनीति को साफ करने की जरूरत है और उसी मंशा और उसी आशा अभिलाषा के साथ उन्होंने अपना वक्तव्य दिया.
In the end, Rahul Gandhi had his way and the party has made it very clear that he and not Dr. Manmohan Singh is who matters in an election year. But the larger question is that should UPA 3 come back to power, would many allies want to do business with Rahul Gandhi? With Bureau Input in New Delhi, Pallavi Ghosh.
Will allies want to do business with Rahul Gandhi? Will the Congress party be comfortable under the leadership of this sporadic and episodic leader who seems to come and go, parachute in, parachute out. He seems to be a bit of a tube light. He comes on only after a delayed period. Is he going to be a reliable leader for the future Congress party? We're going to raise that question. Also raise the question of what has this hurried withdrawal of this ordinance meant for the cabinet system, for the Congress party, as well as for the way in which this ordinance was brought in the first place. Joining us at this moment is Panda, MP of the Biju Janata Dal, someone who's always been opposed to this particular ordinance. Prashant Bhushan, member of the AAP party and senior lawyer. Sanjay Jha, member and spokesperson of the Congress, and Dr. Sambit Patra, you are spokesperson and member of the BJP. Thanks everyone indeed very much for joining us. In fact, we are just losing our link to Sanjay Jha, but we'll try and get him back in just a bit. Jai Panda, if I could come to you first. The ordinance has been withdrawn, which is all to the good. This ordinance had no support whatsoever among the public. By bringing this ordinance, the government was going completely against the public mood. But do you feel the Congress party is left looking rather weakened, muddled and confused?
Well, I think what is clear is that they were trying to brazenly bulldoze this ordinance through because the bill which was introduced in Parliament could not pass because of opposition of several members. And I wanted to point out, I was not only against the ordinance, I've been against the bill from day one. I welcomed the Supreme Court judgment from day one. But it was not just me, it was my colleagues in my party as well as a few colleagues from a few other parties. And to then introduce an ordinance when the bill could not pass and it was still pending in the House is just brazenness. And I think ultimately the unpopularity of this move was getting to some people in the party. And I think what Rahul Gandhi did was certainly belated. He could have done it weeks earlier and saved the country from this ordeal. But I think, let's not be too harsh on him. For whatever reason, maybe it was for political gains or maybe it was for maneuvering once there was a rumor that the president might return the ordinance. Whatever be the case, I think that press conference has shaken up the whole edifice. And clearly the point you are raising is valid today because the government has been caught with its pants down. But I think it's a good day for the country. It's good that it's happening on Gandhi Jayanti, and I think it's a turning point in the politics of the country.
Right, it's a good day for the country, and you're also giving us some news there that the BJP is quite appreciative of what Rahul Gandhi did and does not believe we should judge Rahul Gandhi too harshly. You don't believe, Jai Panda, that the government and the Prime Minister and the cabinet system has been undermined? You're giving us a news flash there. BJP comes out in support of Rahul Gandhi.
I'm certainly not coming out in support of Rahul Gandhi or the Congress party. I told you quite clearly that this was just political opportunism because it is, this matter had been in Parliament for 2 months before this press conference happened. And certainly any member of Parliament and a senior member of the Congress party ought to have known this and should have expressed his opinion and stopped it from day one. But what I'm saying is, opportunism or not, where we have reached today
is a good
for the country, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing on Gandhi Jayanti that an anti-people ordinance has been withdrawn. Sanjay Jha, but the issue arises about a phrase that is often spoken about, namely the privatization of the public realm. There is a public realm, there is a government, there is a cabinet, there is the Congress party. Now, when all of these public institutions become hostage to the private whims of someone who's not in the government, who's ever been in the government, who's ever taken responsibility, then we're looking at a situation when institutions are hostage to the whims of one particular person, and that's very dangerous, whether it's Rahul Gandhi, whether it's Narendra Modi, whether it's any person who can make institutions hostage to his particular whims. That's the dangerous situation. That's the dangerous message coming out of what has happened today.
Shagrika, firstly, I'll agree with Mr. Panda that this is a very, very historic day in the sense that, you know, the whole fact that it's not just the ordinance, that the bill will not be there in Parliament, that the Supreme Court verdict on convicted criminals will apply, is in a great way, you know, the purification and the purge of people with extremely unholy backgrounds who are entering politics and to that extent affecting the August House of Parliament.
No, but is this a reassertion of party over government?
No, but let me tell you, I mean, the government is formed because of the party, and end of day, I think that, you know, we are in majority in the UPA government, and the voice of a very senior leader, you know, he may be young, but he's the vice president of the Indian National Congress. You know, he spoke. If you look at the press conference, a lot of people seem to be, you know, thinking that it was orchestrated. It was not. It was a very spontaneous gesture on his part. Here is a young man who followed his convictions, he followed his conscience, and said that, listen, even if my government has put the ordinance in front of the president, if there's an opportunity to do a rethink, it perhaps is something that can be discussed or debated by them. And the decision to put the ordinance was a collective decision of the cabinet. The decision to withdraw it was also a decision of the cabinet. Mr. Gandhi's public statement may have impacted or influenced it. No, let me tell you,
would this ordinance have been withdrawn had it not been for Rahul Gandhi? But let me get Samit Patra to respond to that, and then we'll go to Prashant Bhushan. That the Congress party, that the UPA government listened to different voices of the party voices. It's not an authoritarian structure. It took voices on board, and therefore it has decided, because of the voice of the people and the party, to withdraw this ordinance.
Sagarika, the whole country is watching the drama that is unfolding in front of them, and in fact this is 24/7 media channels which are running. People cannot be befooled, you know, they cannot be taken hostage to what the party and its spokespersons belief should be. But most importantly, let me first congratulate by saying that the bill has been killed, and the three musketeers who should be congratulated, and the three musketeers who were responsible for the assassination of the bill, first the civil society, second the media, and third I believe BJP and few other political parties which have in fact acted against the bill right from the day one. But most importantly, most of the panelists are saying that it is a very important day for the country, no doubt on that. But it's a very bad day for the Congress party, because the Congress is exposed today that at the end of the day, it is dynasty which calls the roost there in Congress. It is one man, it's one family.
Let me just get Sanjay to respond to that. This is not a triumph of democracy we're celebrating on Gandhi Jayanti, we're celebrating the triumph of dynasty.
Well, let me tell you, firstly, there is no such thing as a dynasty at all. I mean, everybody, whoever wins...
It's so blatant and brazen. This is called as brazenness, Sanjay, when you call that there's no dynasty. The dynasty is looking at us, staring at us on the face today.
Can I speak without your interruption?
Go ahead,
you do that enough in Parliament. At least you can have a civilized conduct in a TV studio, Mr. Patra. But anyway, the key point is that people win. Let's not insult the intelligence or the decision of the people who vote any leader from any party, no matter what their relationships are or their family history are. I think this dynastic argument is a little overstretched. Point number two, the BJP, I think, is really the party that must be sweating profusely. And I'll tell you, Sagarika, why. Why you're hearing very passionate rhetoric from my counterpart from the BJP is the reason is seemingly they were against the ordinance because they saw an opportunity to make a political brownie points there. But the truth is they were never against the bill. And that is the point that Mr. Rahul Gandhi
that's the point. And in fact, the Congress says that you had actually even agreed to the ordinance.
31% of the criminals belong to that party. And what about Mr. Babu Bukharia in
Mr. Babu Bukharia?
I knew Babu Bukharia and the 2002 riots would also come in now.
No, not 2002 riots, but Babu Bukharia is a case in point. The fact is he's a convicted MLA who is now at the moment a minister in the government of Narendra Modi.
Yes, I would answer Babu Bukharia also, but most importantly, as right now, Sanjay Jha pointed out that we were in support of the bill. Let me tell him that in fact it was because of Bharatiya Janata Party which objected to the bill in the Rajya Sabha, and Congress promised that, well, yes, because of your objection, we are sending the bill to the standing committee for reference. In fact, for the first time in the parliamentary democracy of this country, a bill which has been referred to the standing committee, in fact, was again met with as an ordinance. If we would have not objected to the bill, then the ordinance would have not happened. It is as simple as that.
Only objections were that the ordinance came before the parliamentary standing committee recommendations were incorporated. That was their only objection. You had no objection against the bill. The country knows it. Please don't try and be a bluff master.
Sanjay,
let me just bring in Prashant Bhushan of the AAP party as well as senior lawyer. Prashant Bhushan, do you believe that today, Gandhi Jayanti Day, an ordinance which was terribly unpopular with the people, and citizens across the country spoke out against this ordinance. This ordinance has now been withdrawn. But do you also approve of the circumstances in which it has been withdrawn?
Well, I'm glad that the ordinance and the bill have been withdrawn, but let us see the circumstances in which it has been withdrawn. First, there is an all-party meeting in which almost all the major political parties, including the Congress, the BJP, the Samajwadi Party, the BSP, etc., they all support this bill to overturn the Supreme Court judgments, which said that convicted MLAs or convicted MPs cannot retain their seats while their appeal is pending. It was to overturn this that a bill was brought which initially had the support of all the major political parties. Then when the bill was actually brought in the Raj Sabha, the BJP by that time started having a rethink, and they said that all right, let it be referred to a standing committee. Then in order to save Mr. Lalu Yadav's seat, this ordinance is brought by the government in a hurry, which is approved by the entire cabinet, which is approved by the core group of the Congress party. Then there is massive public outcry against this ordinance, and after that Mr. Rahul Gandhi parachutes in and in an impromptu press conference trashes this ordinance. Now for the last 2 months he was sitting silently while all this was playing out in the all-party meeting, in the core group of the Congress committee, in the cabinet meeting, within parliament, etc. He was quiet. I can understand if he says that, look, now seeing public opinion, I have realized that this was a very bad thing and therefore it should be withdrawn. That redeems him to some extent. But that is not what he is trying to say and posture. He is posturing as if he was always opposed to this. Now he has come out in his opposition and therefore now he will oppose it and he trashes it. And then the entire party, the Congress party and the cabinet falls cravenly in his footsteps and says that yes, we agree with our leader and that this whole ordinance and the bill should be withdrawn.
Right.
Now it shows two things, two very important things. Firstly, the hypocrisy of all these, the Congress as well as the BJP, who were initially all supportive of this move to overturn the Supreme Court judgment, and in particular the pitiable state to which the Congress party and this government has been reduced to, where this party has to just fall in line. Till the other day, everybody in the government and the Congress party were defending this bill. Suddenly Rahul Gandhi comes and he opposes this bill and everybody falls in line. I mean, this party has been reduced to a pathetic joke, and so has the cabinet.
Do you want to quickly respond to that, Sanjay Jha, that your party has been reduced to a pathetic joke?
Well, I think he's contradicting himself. Mr. Bhushan has congratulated the decision of Mr. Gandhi's interruption onto the entire debate, and he's actually, felt extremely good about the fact that the government has withdrawn the ordinance. So I really think his calling the Congress whatever he's done is more a political statement because the AAP is contesting us in the Delhi elections. I will ignore that. I think on a larger macro plane, I think the point, Shagnika, that we need to recognize that a political leader who's a grassroots leader has got a right, absolute freedom and right to try and convince his government to revise the decision. I think while a lot of time is being spent on Mr. Gandhi's style or semantics or his choice of syntax at the press conference, the substance of the argument is the core of the entire debate. He was against it. Let me tell you, a lot of people have criticized the fact that he used very strong words. Most of the people have said he shouldn't have used the strong words, otherwise the message
No, but Sanjay, I think the issue...
If you remove the strong words,
No, but Sanjay, there's an issue. He's speaking out his mind, but there are institutions in this country. There is a cabinet, there is the Congress party, there is the fact that this decision was taken by very senior government ministers. Now the point is for actually to go out there, speak against this ordinance. Again, as I say, it smacks to me of that phrase, privatization of the public realm, which again the ordinance, as Prashant Bhushan was pointing out, now revealed to be brought in simply to save Lalu Yadav. How more brazen can you get? Sanjay Jha?
Well, let me tell you, I think Mr. Gandhi's decision to interrupt, which has, made the government withdraw the ordinance, upholds very high constitutional morality.
Okay, upholds constitutional morality. The fact is he was echoing the voice of the people. Let me just get in something, Panda, then we have to take a break.
Savarika, I would like to answer on the words of the Prime Minister of this country. Yesterday, when he was in the aeroplane and he was questioned by the media journalists, then he answered by saying that I am not upset, but this decision was taken. But he added a but and said, but this decision was taken none other by the core group of the Congress party, which included Sonia Gandhi. And then he went on to say, that this nonsense was discussed twice in the cabinet.
Right,
so
discussed twice in the cabinet.
Exactly.
Discussed in the Congress core group. Why is it, Sanjay Jha, I'm going to come back and ask you this, that the vice president, the Congress vice president seemed to not even know
why the son went against the mother.
About
what
this
made
ordinance.
The son go
Has
against
the son
the
gone
mother?
against the mother? Let's take a short break and come back with all of that. We are continuing to bring you special coverage of the rolling back of that controversial ordinance which the Union Cabinet has done in its brief meeting this evening. We're at the end of this particular segment of our coverage, but before we go, let me just get in concluding remarks from all our panelists who are with us, who have kindly joined us. Jai Panda, your takeaway from this entire drama?
Look, the takeaway is you've been talking about institutions that have been bulldozed by an individual. But the fact is, in this particular case, the institutions were being helmed by people who were compromising their roles, who were not acting in the best interest of the country. They were acting in the best interest of themselves and others like us who had been elected to parliament, not for the citizen of the country. So in this instance, an individual may have had a positive effect, but that's not a good thing, because an individual who's capable of bulldozing something, a system for good, can also bulldoze for the bad. And
exactly.
In the case of
exactly, that's what I mean by privatization of the public realm.
Right. But I'm reminded of this anecdote. It's about owner cum chef of a restaurant who keeps screaming every day about the food is bad, the food is bad. The point is that is done after the food has been served.
Right.
And
the owner can't scream that the food is bad.
Is interested in the if he is interested seriously in the public interest, then he has to demonstrate that today, by taking the same kind of interest in other such proposals which this government is floating. This has to do with political parties under RTI, for instance, or electoral reforms. He can speak early.
Right.
He can speak early on it and try to make a case for himself, but not after the food has been served.
Right. As Jai Panda, the new kind of quasi-supporter of Rahul Gandhi, they're giving him a bit of friendly advice. But let me turn it over to Prashant Bhushan. Your takeaway?
Well, there are three takeaways, Sagarika. The first is that the propensity, this shows the propensity of all the major political parties to continue to protect their criminals in politics, in parliament, in legislatures, and in their governments. All of them demonstrated this propensity by agreeing in the all-party meeting to bring this law to overturn the Supreme Court judgment. Second takeaway is that it shows the pathetic state of the Congress party, where the entire party and their government bends to the will of this one person who changes his mind later because of the pressure of public opinion and still tries to posture as if he always was of this mind.
Right.
Third takeaway is that in this case at least, the pressure of public opinion has forced all these parties
and that's
to
a good thing.
their tunes.
That's a good thing. That is what we need to celebrate on Gandhi Jayanti. The pressure of public opinion has perhaps created a new awareness in the political class. Very quickly, we're out of time. 10 seconds.
Two quick points, in fact. First and foremost, are there three power centers in the Congress now? The mother, the son, and the Prime Minister sandwiched in between.
Okay, the mother, the son, and the Prime Minister.
Sandwiched in between. And second, and very importantly, this is a deja vu in which we see what happened with Pawan Bansal and Ashwini Kumar, where one One part of the Congress was saying that we are not for the resignation. The other part
Congress
with
party
resignation.
split wide open.
No, Congress party
split
should
wide
stop.
open.
Please, it would be harsh words, but Congress party should stop behaving as a hermaphrodite and should know which side of the fence it should sit.
Okay, the
right
Congress party
or the
should
wrong.
stop behaving like a hermaphrodite. Those are very controversial words there. Well, very quickly, Sanjay Jha.
Well, I think number one, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's actions or his recommendations or the impact it has had is going to strengthen India's institutions, number one. And most importantly, let me respond very quickly to what Mr. Patra said. I think, the difference between, a lot of people keep debating on media channels between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi, and I think the difference is obvious. Rahul Gandhi has strengthened India's democratic
institutions. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there.
And what Narendra Modi has done, by passing a truthless Lok Ayukta bill is protecting corruption and protecting criminals.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there.
The country can see that.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed to all my panelists for joining me. The special coverage of the rollback of that controversial ordinance continues on CNN IBN. Stay tuned. We're coming back after a tiny break.